Hi, this is Ellen Evanoff. I wanted to take a minute and give you a couple quick tips on how to use the Creative Memories chalking pen. I know the first time I pulled it out and started using it, and I went, wait a minute, nothing is showing up. Well, I want you to first be aware it's not broken. It's how it's meant to be. It starts off very, very faint. And as you go through and as it dries, you get this really nice light white that shows up. So this is never going to be a truly, truly brilliant white. But what it's meant to be used for is to accent and highlight and do a little bit of chalking on different things. I recommend, first of all, that you start off by practicing, and I've got my practice sheet here. This is the back side of a piece of cardstock that I'm going to use on my layout, but I wanted to show you that you can do a whole bunch of different things. Over here, I've just done some straight lines to make a bordered, textured border. And you can see it starts off and you don't even see it. It's kind of dark and it fades, and as it dries, you'll see it come out. Play with this. Go ahead. There's a bold side and a fine side. You can do different techniques, like you could do stippling, which is just doing little dots, and the dots will show up. As you see, these will start popping in as I keep talking here. You can blend it. What I did here is I did the dots first, and then I went over it with the bold side. And by going over it, it kind of gave it a different texture a little bit. So practice what you want to do here. You can do crosshatch, which is where you just make lines one direction and then you make lines a second direction. You can just put something underneath for emphasis. You can use it for journaling, as I have here, and done parallel lines. But unlike white gel pens, these are not going to be as dark nor as permanent. So I would use it for just fun type stuff, not necessarily things that you want there forever. And then you can just use it to make little borders around here to just kind of highlight things. I've done a stitch here. I did a little squiggle here. I used it for some shading on something here. Here's a little zigzag one, or a dash dot dot. The other piece, and I find this the most fun part of it, is I did this and did it like chalking inks. You know how normally we had chalking and you get it all over your fingers and everything else? Well, you can see here I've done a little bit of chalking already and it's dried up, but it gives that chalking effect just by lightly going over it. But I don't have any mess on my hands, and it's really clean and easy. It does take a minute for it to completely dry. And so I have a second one here that I started on, but I'm going to show you just a little bit. And by the time I'm done, you'll see how this works, is that I kind of just have a little bit more depth on my strip that I have right here. You can also do it on a regular cardstock. And again, that's why I showed you all these different techniques. So you could just make a couple lines. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can just squiggle a little bit and just kind of give it a little bit of depth and dimension by squiggling. Or you can just kind of dot it a little bit. And again, you can't quite see what you're doing. But when it dries, you'll be able to go back in and rework it if you need to. Like, say I didn't get this star exactly the right shape. I can go back and just touch it up a little bit. At any rate, this is a great tool. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to take this one here and just add a little bit of extra white highlights along the edge of the trunk. This is one of those that I cut in half because we only get one design. So I cut it in half so that I could use it on both sides. And then I'm just going to put little veins in the middle of some of these leaves, put a little stippling on a couple of these. And as they dry, you will see that I get a slightly different effect on here. So play with this. No, it's not broken if you don't see anything initially. It's something that you're going to have to let it dry just a little bit. And again, I'm putting little dots on the acorns. I'm putting lines on the leaves. And if I get done, I can just wave it. And you can see right now, I'm waving it to dry. See how this is shown up? And I've got like a chalking type effect. I can also take the bold end side And I can just run it down the edge too. That will also give me a different type of chalking effect. So I can, instead of drawing on it, I can use this edge here to make a whiter line along it. And again, just let it dry, be patient, have fun. And I think this is going to be great fun. I can't wait to play more with it and see what I can make it do. See how this one here, where I did the bold, it really shows up and it gives it a little bit more depth and dimension on your lines. So you don't have necessarily a hard line straight against it. And so let me put that over there so you can just see that. I'm going to move this over a little bit. See how that just adds just a nice bright white. So have fun. This is your chalking ink that you got in your secret box, and have a nice day.